It is part of your identity, especially because I was on America's Next Top Model. You know, I was the model who was the carpenter. How does a model become a woodworker? I'm like, I don't know. How does a high school person become a gynecologist?
I'm here to teach how to market your business. They're like, what do you know?
Wow, this is so cool. Now I can like build cabinets.
What's the thing that people like from you?
Just need the basics, and we should really be spending time with our family.
Literally just go all in on that. Hey, welcome to a brand new episode of the Woodpreneur podcast. This is your host, Steve. Today's guest is Joanie Sprague. How you doing, Joanie?
Hi, how are you? Good to talk to you.
Good to talk to you too. Hey, why don't you tell everybody about the journey, the very interesting journey to being in the wood business?
Yeah, it's been wild. You know, as a young person, I was very fortunate to be able to model, which was wild. And this was like back in the early 2000s. So it was a totally different animal back then when they had, they shot on film, they printed pictures, you know. So I transitioned from like this old school modeling life. And then I realized that at about 26, 27 years old, I was like, I'm getting too old for this. I need to find something else that really speaks to me and makes me feel rewarded. And that for me ended up being like construction and home improvement. And so I got into that, and very fortunate once again to be able to do it through television. But it sparked a passion in me that was so intense that I made it my life, and I did it outside of TV, and started my own home improvement and DIY kind of thing. And then the woodworking just was a little, extra cherry on top, because now that was like, you learn these skills in construction, and then you carry that over into woodworking, and you've got all the tools, and you're like, wow, this is so cool. Now I can like build cabinets. And it's just become such a rewarding and fun thing, and I love it.
That's cool. So modeling was like a big part of your life and like big part of your identity, right? Yes. I guess two questions. Do you ever get tired of talking about how you used to be a model?
No, it's
you know
okay.
what I mean?
Yeah.
You know what
no,
like
cool.
do you ever like for some, not for me, but like for somebody that had an identity for so long being wrapped into was it like a process to like unwind from that, or did you just kind of like carry that identity into your new life? Because you essentially reinvented yourself, right?
Yes. Yeah. And it is kind of like that. You do carry it into, it is part of your identity, especially because I was on America's Next Top Model, which was a really huge show back in the day. And so a lot of people like still associate me with that. And so, I was the model who was the carpenter. And like, that's still kind of like my shtick, I guess you could say. Which is fine. I don't mind that at all. I think a lot of people, like I said, still recognize me from that. But, I think with that becomes a little bit of like, there's lots of questions like, well, how do you do that? It's like, oh, I don't know. You just learn. But also
like, how do you become a carpenter, or how do you become a woodworker?
How does a model become a woodworker? I'm like, I don't know. How does a high school person become a gynecologist? You learn.
You learn.
You just learn. And so, but there's also a huge like, hey guys or girls or whoever, if I can do it, you can do it.
You can do it. Yeah.
And that's a really fun part of it too, is just being, there for young people and other women that might, think, I don't know if I can do this. And I'll be like, yeah, you can. You totally can. And it's
for
fun.
Sure. What was the biggest transition or the biggest challenge from that transition for you?
I think a lot of it was being taken seriously and having to deal with the pushback from other people from, just like, okay, you're just doing this to look cool, or you're just doing this to be different or whatever. And I had to just kind of overcome that and be like, no, I actually know what I'm doing and I like it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
for sure.
And a lot of it sucks too, like having to almost like try to talk shop like a little bit more aggressively to like look like I know what I'm talking about. And I'm like, this is so silly. But I've definitely had to do that.
So not that it's that different, but when you are a different person, where you are a different person in an industry or in a scene or in an environment, there always does feel like the need to like prove yourself, right?
Hmm. Yeah.
And I think I had a little bit of that, and I don't know how much of it was like in my head
Hmm.
or me
Right.
getting in the way
Right.
versus like, because as being a black person in this industry, and
Mm.
it's all white male,
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
there's always the like, I remember I rolled up to a conference or something, and somebody said, "What are you doing here?" And they looked me up and down, and I was like, "I'm here to teach
You're like,
how to
I'm here.
market your business." And then like I literally got, they're like, "What do you know about?" And I had to like go through my resume, and I still get a lot of that. Like, people just don't trust me because I
Mm.
don't look like I fit the particular
Yes.
mold
Yeah.
in that space. So like I can understand
Yes.
the challenge of being, and then the need to like over
Yes.
flex your thing. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
which is super interesting. So tell us about the business. Like, how did you like? What does the business look like now? Like, how are you, like, your business model, that kind of stuff?
Hmm. So, social media still has a strong hold over a lot of what I do. I mean, I'm very busy with that as far as like content creation and brands and working with brands and things like that. The TV thing is kind of weird. So, for a long time, that was the priority, and I would work
Mm-hmm.
everything around that because I would be gone for so many months out of the year or whatever, weeks out of the year doing TV. I couldn't really commit to my business so much. But,
Mm-hmm.
since COVID, I've done a little bit of TV, but it's been more focusing now on the business.
Yeah.
So the business really just kind of looks more like a handyman and a carpentry business. So you call me up, you say, I need A, B, or C. I tell you if I can do it or not. And
Mm-hmm.
and I stay local. I don't go far. I don't go to LA. No. I try to stay in
No
Orange
LA.
County. No.
Yeah.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, it's totally not worth it for me to drive to LA. And if you're from
Mm-mm.
California and you know what I'm talking about, yeah. But let's just put
Oh
it
yeah,
let's
it's the
just like
worst.
let's just compare it to something. So let's just say you live
You
in
gotta take the
Chicago.
405. 405 is the
Yeah.
worst.
Let's
Yeah,
just
yeah,
say
yeah.
you live in, Mount Prospect. Now you got to drive to downtown Chicago. You don't want to do that. Or you live
You don't
in
want to do
Dallas
that.
and you got to drive to, you know, Fort Worth. It's like, ugh, ugh.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a whole thing. And like some people do it all the time, but you know what the traffic's like. It's insane. And it's
Yeah.
hot. And I don't know. If I can stay busy and stay local, then that's what I'll try to do.
And
But yeah,
what
so
are most people book you for jobs? What kind of jobs do you normally do?
I get a lot of women, which is awesome, who have me come in and they're just wanting, a custom closet done or bookcases or they have so many questions and they just want to ask me, you know, it's almost like they like that I'm a sounding board that's going to give them like a very honest answer without like belittling them or making them feel
Yeah,
like
yeah.
I'm not listening. I don't know. Maybe they just trust me more, but I get a lot of that. Women that want to work with me on things, they'll say, "Well, can we do this together? Can we, hang this thing and I'll work with you. I want to learn how to do it." I get a lot of that. But it's
Mm-hmm.
just a lot of simple things, lots of shelves. People need to store stuff, I'll tell you.
Yeah.
Lots of shelves. But I do get requests for tables and bench seating. A couple countertops. I did a few kitchen remodels, but those are like really large projects. But the small stuff, I just, whatever I can crank out in like 2 or 3 days, I'm happy to take the job.
That's cool. That's very cool. And the company's called, is that the Little Bit Workshop?
Yeah, the Little Bit Workshop. You know, for a long time, I was like, I don't have a company name. I'm just myself. I'm just Joanie. And I thought, what can I
True.
do? What's my thing? Like, what am I going to do? And I started a podcast. The podcast happened first. So I have a podcast called The Little Bit Podcast because I talked
Cool.
about a little bit of everything except for politics. That was my whole thing. And
Yeah.
I was like, that's me too with my work. Like I can do everything, a little bit of everything. So why don't I just call that also my business? So that's
That's awesome. That's
that's all I
awesome.
did.
Um, what's kind of like how's this year been for you and the business?
It's been okay. There's been some like low points. Here in California, we had so much rain, and
Mm-hmm.
it seems like silly, like wow, rain, you got rain, but like Californians will hide in their
Never get rain.
homes and they
Yeah.
won't come out. And they almost like are too scared to do anything, like, well,
Yeah.
I don't want to do any work or like have people come over and do stuff. We'll wait till it gets nice out. And then as soon as
Yeah.
it gets nice out, it's like I am busy. So for
Yeah.
the a little bit of the winter time there, I was super dead and I was focusing on other things. But now that the weather's nice, it's gotten really busy.
That's cool. Very cool. Where do you see um your business going in the future?
You know, I want to focus more on education. And, during the summer months, I try to do ladies woodworking classes at my home on the weekends. And I've gotten so many phone calls and emails through my Yelp page about when's the next time you're having class? Are you going to do classes? Oh, can my kids come? Da, 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 da. And I'm thinking, gosh, there's such a market for this and there's such a desire and a need for this. I wish I could do that more often.
Mm.
So I'd love to focus more on that, but just finding the money up front is, going to be a big leap for me, whether I try to fund it myself or crowdfund it. I would just need a little bit of money to really focus on that because I'd need a proper space and
Yeah.
insurance and all of these things to kind of get that going. And it'd be a big commitment. I don't know if I'm ready to make that commitment yet. And I
What
don't
what
know.
kind of what kind of stuff would you build? I mean, would you teach?
Well, in previous classes, I either teach them how to build a stool, a coffee table,
Mm.
a planter box, mostly things that are just basic joinery and maybe pocket holes, how to use a sander and a nail gun whether it's pneumatic or battery,
Yeah.
s- drills, impact drivers, like all the basic tools like you would need to build pretty much anything you see on Pinterest.
For sure. For sure. For
So
sure.
yeah, the differences between like types of screws and Torx, flathead, Phillips head, all those different things, and trying to just give
Yeah.
people little tidbits of information so they can do things on their own.
Yeah, because I feel like a lot of people they just need a little bit of help, and
Hmm.
then their mind expands. Like you build a
Yes.
stool, you build a
Yeah.
planter, you're like
You're like,
stuff
ah.
starts to look different, right?
You're
Like
like, oh yes. You're like,
this
oh,
stuff.
this is all the same kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just a cutting board's a table. Like
Yeah. Exactly. Exactly.
a cutting board's a big table.
Yep.
Uh, the I think what's interesting about it, it kind of seems like you're like leveraging the your prior life and the relationships for content, and then there's like this little bit of sprinkling of
See, it's a
leveraging
great
these
name.
tools. Yeah, it is. The leveraging your skill set to provide a service for your community, and it kind of sounds like women, right? So it's almost
Hmm.
like which kind of sounds like the makings of a really 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 cool business. Like um when you think about like the things that are potentially preventing you from getting there, what do you think that would be?
Well, here in Huntington Beach, it's permits and it's,
Yeah.
um, you know, I can't think of the word right now, but like zoning, I guess, like where you're allowed to do these things. And,
Yeah.
the stuff you have to have in place, it's ridiculous. Like if I wanted to do it in my own house, I have to have a permit similar to teaching swimming lessons in my house. It's like
Oh,
a
that's
very
wild.
strange permit. And like I'm a
California's
renter.
beautiful, but it's weird like that, right? Like
It's
it's
just so
weird.
weird. I'm like,
It's
come on.
weird. Yeah.
I'm
I
like,
do
just let
like
me.
California, but it's weird like that with some of the rules, like
Yeah, it's so weird with the rules. It's like, you need a permit for this. You got to tell your neighbors that you're going to take up parking spots. It's like, you got to be insured up to this much money. You got to have this kind of insurance. Oh, you're a renter? It's like,
yeah,
it's so
yeah.
insane.
Um, who are some of the I guess because you're like how much of your business is like as a content creator versus like carpenter maker?
Hmm. I think,
Is it about 50-50 or like
I mean,
60-40?
it's really fast for me to create content. I can create it pretty quickly because okay, so here's the thing. I really commend the folks out there that have the ability to do an entire project. Let's say, for example, like 3x3 custom. She
Yeah,
she kills it, and she can
yeah,
film the whole thing, and all the little things and like her hands and what she's doing over here and all this stuff. And then
yeah.
someone edits it. I'm like, I don't have time to do that. I really don't. I'm not that good, or I don't have a videographer. So
Yeah.
my content ended up like going towards like being funny. So that's kind of like what I've been doing. I've just been doing relatable reels about the construction and woodworking world, but being funny.
And
Then
yourself. Yeah.
yeah, being myself. And I'll try to do stuff with, brands and branded content and stuff like that, salt and pepper it in. But it really is hard for me, or it's not hard for me to create content. So most of my focus has been on the business. There'll be days where I'll just be on site somewhere working at someone's house, and I don't feel comfortable filming myself there. I know I could ask them, "Hey, is it okay if I film myself?" But like this 70-year-old woman is like, "Why? Why do you want to film yourself in my house? That's weird." So I just don't do it, when I'm at someone else's house.
For sure. For sure.
Yeah.
Um, I'm just curious, like the average project for when you're doing your carpentry, handyman, woodworking stuff. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, what's the average project size?
I definitely, over the years, I've learned my lesson not to bite off more than I could chew, or beyond my, actual capabilities. There's been times when I was like, yeah, I can do that. And then I look at the scope of work and I'm like, holy cow. I'm like, I'm going to have to pick up all that wood by myself, bring that back, unload it all by myself. I'm talking like 5, 6, 7, 8 sheets of plywood for this Murphy bed or whatever. And I'm like, gosh, I wish I had someone to help me. No, I don't mind doing that. I'll do it. It is a lot of heavy lifting and a lot of work just for me, one person. But I've been trying to do more like finish carpentry, or like the closet systems that aren't hard to do. You just need a couple sheets of plywood for that. But I've been trying to make the jobs smaller and smaller. But with that it's less and less money. So it's kind of like
Yes.
you got to kind of like even that out. Like right now I'm doing a lot of like drywall repair and repainting of this guy's house, and then I'm tearing out like a tile wall so they can like install a urinal. The plumbers can install a urinal. Like handyman stuff like that is, it pays the bills, but it's not like, oh wow, I'm making like $8,000 on something.
For sure. You kind of, based off of the life experience and the stuff that you've done in your life and the platform that you created, it kind of seems like is there a bigger mission that you'd see for yourself in the world, like in a bigger impact that you'd like to make in the world?
That is a really good question. Gosh.
I know I said I wasn't going to go deep.
No,
but,
I know. And it's poignant today because, during the last couple of weeks, we've had a lot of bad things happen in our life here, and my husband and I, people passing away, people in bad accidents, things hitting really close to home. And you think about that, you think about your legacy and what you're going to leave behind, or how you're helping others in the day to day, and how you're making an impact in the world, and also spending time with the people that you love. So all these things are more important than making money, in my opinion. All these things are more important than social media, all that. But, you got to find that work-life balance. The other thing too that's really terrible, and we all need to just admit it, is like having things is not important either. Like, having this new truck, this $1,000 truck payment and all stuff. It's like not necessary. We don't always need to always keep up with the Joneses and have all these things in life. It's like if you're working to just acquire things, it's like you're missing out on so much stuff. I mean, if you're lucky enough to make enough money to do that easily, then that's so cool. But like a lot of us have to work so hard and so long because we think we need all these extra things in life, when really, truly, we just need the basics, and we should really be spending time with our family. So, and our friends. I mean, I don't know. It's just hitting me hard this month because, like I said, we've been through a lot, but, I think what I want to do for other people is teach them to help themselves, and to be self-sufficient, and to be contributing to society, even in a small way.
Yeah. Yeah. That's really cool. And I feel like that message will hit home a lot, because Instagram, and especially, content creators, they get gifted all this stuff and they work on cool projects. And I work with a lot of people that feel like, oh, there's FOMO, and they want the social media numbers, and they want this and that. And they spend all their time trying to chase something without actually having a reason why they are chasing something. So
yes,
I appreciate that. So this is the part of the podcast where I give you any marketing or business advice. And so, is there something that you need to think through, or is there something that you would like to, you need some extra help on that I can help you with?
Well, yeah. I mean, I'm sorry, my dog's barking.
No worries.
If you've got any, I guess, guidance on, making the teaching thing work, and how I can, get that going. I mean, I'm not going to necessarily be worried about it making money right off the bat, but like just to even start something like that, and how to, I don't know. I don't know what to do, but I think it'd be good to do.
Well, I kind of have two things based off of what you just during our time talking together. Like, one is figure out what you like to do the most in terms of the business. Mm-hmm. Like, what do you love to do the most? What is the most profitable? And what do people like from you? Like, what's the thing that people like from you? What is the most profitable? And then literally just go all in on that, and just push that as much as possible. I think you live in a community, in Southern California, that if you went all in on that and built a little bit of a brand, it'd be fairly easy to build that to six figures. That'd be very, 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 very easy. And then based off of you and who you are, you can potentially hire one or two extra people with your little brand to scale that. So you have like one or two extra people that you can like scale that and have that be its thing. On the education part, I love that idea, but one thing that I wouldn't do, I wouldn't necessarily go out and try to get a space right away. One of the things that I would do is I would do pop-ups, and do pop-ups seasonal. I mean, you're in California. You can literally do it all year round. And so I would do pop-ups, and how I would get them paid for is by go to, I think you have Carhartt as a relationship. Like, go to your partners and just say, hey, look, I'm going to target this person. And it's got to be, millennial mom, single white female, blah, blah, blah. And then maybe you like loop in some other your creator maker friends and do like one for each city, and then maybe do a tour. Right, based off of the success, but then you get these companies to put dollars behind it so that you're not marketing, you're showing up, you're getting a check, you're organizing it, you're promoting it, but like they're putting the advertising dollars behind that. But like the whole idea behind like the little bit, I feel like there's like something, there's like there's a brand behind it, there's a philosophy behind it. It may not be 100% clear, but it's like, it could be like, just again, knowing you, your social, this conversation. It could be about being present, showing up for the people that you love, being creative, self-esteem, being yourself, and then making stuff like, and then building a community around that. Like, that would be powerful. So you just do these little bit workshops where it's like, you build something, we talk about life, you build a community, and then you grow from there. But like, yeah, I would lean all in on that. Like, if women are hiring you because they're like, you know what, I kind of like you and I want to do stuff with you, like, lean into that.
Yeah,
that seems
for sure.
like, but then if you're going to do it, that's why I asked you the question about that's why I asked you a question about like, how much is the job? Because like, you got to do stuff that's profitable.
I know.
Right? You got to do stuff that's profitable. You also got to do stuff that people love and that you can do all day with your eyes closed, because those are the things that I would create content around. Be like, listen, you hire me, it's going to cost this amount of dollars. And I'm just saying it's like $1,500, $2,000, $3,000 to bring me out. And I'm going to bring a camera crew. We're going to document. You can sign your waivers. And we're going to create content around this. And then they're part of the story, because they like lean into like your past to like take you to where you need to be. And then along the way, start infusing these values that you have and the beliefs and the mission, the vision out into the world.
Is
that helpful?
Yeah, definitely. I definitely need to lean in for sure on something. I think it's just hard, this city.
Yeah.
Just navigating that, I think, is going to just be a little bit of a challenge. But the good thing about doing a pop-up is when it's on private property, I don't need a permit, which is nice. So if like I did it at the Elks Club parking lot, or like, something like that, or like at a bar or restaurant privately owned, it wouldn't require a permit. So that's kind of a good thing. I could just focus on places like that.
Yeah, just literally, what I would do maybe this fall is do a series of pop-ups. Like, do one in Ventura County, do one in LA County, do one in Orange County. And that's your little beta. That would be your beta test. You do one in like Santa Barbara, you do one in LA proper, and then you do one in your hometown. And then ask each of your sponsors to kick in $3,000 to $5,000, and then you're cared for it. There are a series of free workshops. You hire a videographer. You document the whole thing.
Okay, I like that.
Cool. Do it and tell me when you do it. All right?
That sounds good.
Don't mess around, Joanie.
Just do it.
So
just do it.
Come on. Just do it. Cool. Any last bit of parting advice for the Woodpreneur community?
Just use your safety goggles and be careful with them table saws, y'all.
Be careful with them thumbs.
Yeah. You want to be all thumbs.
Awesome.
Yeah, I don't know. Just love your friends, love your family, and wear your safety glasses.
Awesome. What's your website?
You can just find me on Instagram at Joanie Sprague. Littlebitpodcast.com is some of our podcast episodes from the past, and you can catch up on Spotify or Apple or whatever. And then, yeah, just come hit me up. Say hello.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Joanie. I
Thank
really
you.
appreciate you being on the podcast. All right.
Thank you
I'll
so
talk
much.
to you soon.
Okay.
Bye.
Talk to you later. Bye.